primary and secondary school. She's passionate about sharing best practice with teachers and has developed and delivered customized training, coaching and mentoring for early childhood, primary and secondary teachers in the Middle East, Europe, Asia, and South America. She's currently residing in Lima, near Peru, and has recently been working on government and independent teacher training projects with primary and secondary English teachers in Peru, Lebanon, and Turkey. She has also been writing ELT primary materials for Cambridge University Press for the Ministry of Education in Abu Dhabi. Primary classroom create and fun for learners. She says, we will go on a discovery journey where we try out different creative writing activities to make back to our classroom. So please join me in welcoming from the same age, Miss Noel Now.
Good afternoon, everyone. If you've come in a little bit later, I'd like to ask you to make sure that there is a paper going around, a sheet of paper. Please make sure that you write your name and your email address on this paper. The reason that I'm giving this paper around is that I want to make sure that you get the email with the PowerPoint, okay? So you don't have to sit here and take notes. You are going to get the email with the PowerPoint, okay? With everything on there so that you have it in your email and you can share it with your colleagues, your friends, and that way everybody, even if they're not here today, can join in and we can share information. Yes? So I'm going to start today. Since I have 40 minutes, this is going to be very intensive and quick. But if I'm going too fast, raise your hand and I'll slow down. Okay? Now, whenever I give a presentation to teachers, I don't want to be doing all the talking. Okay? So at times, I'm going to ask you to participate because the only way to learn is by doing. Everybody agrees to that? Yes? Okay? So when I ask you to do something, I'm going to ask you to work with the person next to you or the couple of people that are around you. I know it's a little difficult because we're a big audience, okay? But that's what we're going to do today. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is, behind me on the PowerPoint, you have 3 pictures. They are all pictures of Peru. Yes? I want you to look at the pictures and with the person sitting next to you, or in pairs or in a triad if there's 3 of you, I want you to just for 1 minute share what are these pictures about and what do they have in common. Okay? So 1 minute to talk about the 3 pictures that are there. What are they about? What topic? And what do they have in common? Okay? I know I'm giving you very little time. Yes, go ahead.
There is a theater.
Yes, there's excellent. A theater. Yes, did everybody recognize that? In the top picture, the man with his bike. That's a theater. Yes. Anybody see anything in there? What are those? They're all Peruvian, by the way. Don't ask me exactly where they are. I just kind of picked them from the internet, but they are all Peruvian. Anybody want to share? What about this red image? What is that?
What do you think is handicraft?
Yes, this one? Oh, that one. Yes, that's a handicraft. And what does it represent? What does it represent? Yes, there's a girl reading a book there. Now, what about the second one? It's about your country. It's culture. What do you think it is? I'm going to tell you, it could be like a tablecloth. It's actually a piece of cloth with sewing on it, okay? And they make this in the islands in Puno. Yes? So this is actually from Puno. Now, if we look, both bottom ones are handicrafts, yes? So this one, yes, it could be like a tablecloth or a piece of sewing. Yes, it's cloth. Now, if I look at all three of them, what do they represent? Yes, we're telling something. Yes, they are telling. Would you agree with me that these are all images about storytelling? Yes? Would you agree with me? Okay, so that's our topic of today. Our topic today is storytelling. I'm going to be talking about storytelling in probably like primary and early childhood, but in reality, even if you're doing secondary, you're going to be able to take the strategies and you're going to be able to use them in your classroom, okay? Now, here's an interesting quote that I picked up that I think is very powerful, and I want you to just quickly read it and to focus on the words that are in blue. So I'm going to let you read this a moment. What is the value of story sharing? Okay, I know some of you might not have read it completely, but remember you are going to get this in your email, so don't worry about it. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit later about story sharing, because some of you are going to tell me, is that the same as storytelling? We're going to talk a little bit later about story sharing, storytelling, yes? But I think what's important here is that it entertains our learners. It entertains the audience. It makes them curious. You know, when you think about stories like, for example, Little Red Riding Hood, which I'm sure you know, yes? The learners want to know what's going to happen next, yes? They're very curious. It enriches their lives because they think about the link to the real world, yes? It stimulates their imagination, yes? What about if the wolf was following you? It helps them develop their intellect, and what I mean with that is in the first place, of course, is English, but also critical thinking, problem solving, what is going to happen next in our story. And there's a lot of emotions involved, yes? When you're little and you read Little Red Riding Hood, or you watch the cartoon, you get scared, you get happy, yes? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, my first question for you is, why do we tell young learners stories? Now, with young learners, I mean children in early years. What I mean with that is inicial, as you call it, and in primary. Why do we tell them stories? I want you for a minute to to share with your partner, and then I'm going to put some ideas on the board. Okay, so you have 1 minute. Why do we tell or share stories with young learners in our classroom? You have 1 minute. Where's the list? Could somebody tell me where the list is? The list? Does anybody have the list? Who needs the list? Okay, I'm going to start here. Make sure that before the end you write your name on the list. Okay. I'm going to stop you right there. Why do we tell stories to young learners? Why do we use stories in our classroom? Anybody want to share one idea? One idea. Yes? Why do we tell our learners stories? I hear a lot of sharing going on, which means you have. Thank you. To engage them. Excellent. To engage them. Okay, anybody else? Yes, excellent. To increase their vocabulary, to give them more language. Yes. Anybody else? I should be able to write faster. Anybody else? To improve their comprehension. You know what? Would anybody like to volunteer to write? Oh. To improve comprehension. Okay. Anybody else? We're getting some great ideas. I'm very, very impressed. To stimulate imagination. Excellent. I will leave this up here if you want to take a picture later, no problem. Anybody else? I'm sure that you can come up with more than this, but these are great reasons to make them participate. Yes. Oops. Okay. I saw another hand before. I saw another hand. To learn about other cultures. Excellent. And today, I'm actually, in July, when I was in England, I was in Cambridge, at the University of Cambridge, giving a workshop on creativity in the classroom. My teachers, primary and early childhood teachers, wrote stories. And they were from different countries, and I am going to be sharing those with you today. Yes? Excellent. So we are going to learn about other cultures. Anything else before we move on? Yes. Excellent. Yes, values, morals are very important in storytelling. Excellent. Okay, we're now going to look at what research says about stories and why they might be a little bit of a better resource than just using a textbook all the time, okay? So today I'm going to share with you why they're another resource for using than just using your textbook every day. Yes? So I'm going to move this to the side, but if you want a picture later, it stays here, okay? Just I have have to make sure the camera is on. So, I think one of the most important things is our students need exposure. They need to have a variety of language. Now, we all know that most of the time, most of our learners do not listen to English all the time, yes? They don't watch movies in English, maybe on the computer, on the internet a little bit, but it's very limited. Their English is limited to their textbook and to the teacher talking. Does the teacher talk quickly? No, the teacher talks slowly, limited language, yes? And then what do the learners say when they go out in the real world and they try to talk to native speakers? What do they say? I don't understand. I can't communicate. People talk so fast. Yes, people don't slow down for me. So one of the advantages of using stories is that stories are a rich language experience. When I talk about a story, such as Little Red Riding Hood in English, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, was that written for students with low-level English? No, it was written for learners in general, so it's a rich language experience. It motivates the learners. Remember that often they actually already know the story. Yes, they might know it in Spanish beforehand, so it's easier for them. They want to find meaning. They listen with a purpose. Yes, it builds listening and reading fluency. Today, we are going to see a story. Yes, we are going to watch it. And we are going to listen at the same time. And later on, we're going to be doing reading. Afterwards, we're going to talk about our story. We're going to do writing activities or pre-writing activities if writing is too difficult for our learners. It creates language awareness. How is language used in the real world? We stimulate our learners to speak and write. Do our learners in general like to write? No. Do we really like to write? No. Okay. Tomorrow I'm going to specifically talk, for those of you who come at 9 tomorrow, I'm going to specifically talk about writing. Okay? We're going to be able, when we tell a story, afterwards the learners are excited. They want to talk about it. Yes? We're communicating with others. Exposure to culture, what you said, yes? We're learning about another culture. We're learning about things outside the classroom. And it makes learning interesting and enjoyable. Yes? Oops. What happened now? Let me see. Something else? Okay. No worries. It'll connect again. There we go. Now, I've got 3 pictures here. Yes? I want you to think a moment. Reading a story, telling a story, or sharing a story. Which picture belongs to which? Which one is reading, which one is telling, and which one is sharing? And then I want you to think a minute, what is the advantage and disadvantage for the teacher and for the learner? Yes? For the teacher and for the learner. You have 1 minute with your partner. And I'm going to ask for feedback, so be prepared. The second one, yes? The top right, yes? Top right is reading. Which one do you think is telling? The first one, and which one is sharing? Which one? What do you think? Sharing. And this one is? Telling. Okay, now, a question for you. Which of these three is the most difficult for the teacher? Which one? Most likely this one, yes? Why is it difficult?
We can't remember.
Yes. So I, as a teacher, need to be prepared. I need to know my story very well. I have to feel comfortable. And maybe I want to have a little cheat sheet. You know what a cheat sheet is? I have a little sheet or a note card with some text to remind you. Yes? Because as a teacher, I'm going to feel quite nervous. Yes? We know the reality. Now, what is the advantage? I have students who are 6, 7 years old and their level of English is very low. What is the advantage of the bottom picture for the learner? What is the advantage? Instead of me sitting here and reading and reading and reading, I'm just telling, once upon a time, there was a golden duck. What is the advantage? It's easier for the learner, right? I can make the language very low level. I can talk very slowly. I can tell in the simple present instead of using the simple past. Maybe I use some pictures, some images, but I can make it very low level. So difficult for the teacher, a lot of preparation. I should practice at home, but easy for the learner. Yes? Now, don't worry if you make little errors. Little errors are okay. Remember, everybody in language makes errors. It's okay. Yes? But I would say it's a good idea at home to write your story. Yes? But advantage for the learner, easier. Now, telling. What is the advantage of telling a story? For the teacher. For the teacher, what's the advantage? What?
Sharing. This is sharing. That's teacher is called sharing.
You know what? I think it depends on what you call it. It's not important. Yes? I call it, it's funny because I call this sharing and I call that telling, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Not very important. Now, my question is, I've got my book, but I've got my book like this. Now, does anybody know this story? It's a very famous story. Does anybody know the story? A bear. And where is the bear from? From Peru. And what is his name? Paddington. Now, if you look at my little story here, does this have a lot of text? Is there quite a bit of text? If I'm reading this to students, is this a lot of text to read? Yes. If I'm reading this to students, your learners that have limited English, this is a lot of text. Okay? And if I'm reading this, what is going to happen? Yes? They're going to get bored, they're going to fall asleep. Yes? Especially if I'm like this. Yes? I'm reading, 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 reading. The attention is fading, 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 fading. Yes? So, I want the learners to be engaged. Yes? I want them to be inside my story. Yes? So, I'm going to show them the story like this, and I'm going to tell the story. Yes? I'm going to simplify it. I'm going to point to the pictures. Now, if you're doing that, I do recommend that you photocopy and you stick your story at the back. Because otherwise, you have to try to read upside down and simplify at the same time. This is going to be a very difficult exercise. Yes? We are not super women and super men. Yes? So I would say take the text, simplify, very simple story, but it actually has too much text. Yes, to be telling. Look at this. Look at how much text you have. Okay? So that's the challenge. But for a teacher, reading the story is the easiest. Yes? Now, in a minute, we're going to do a typical British story, and we're actually going to watch the author do it with the movements. And he is absolutely fabulous. I wish I could be as good as he is. Yes? Now, we're going to have a look at today at a British story. Do you know this story? Do you know this story? Which story is this? I'm going to take a minute, and we're going to do a little fun activity. Where's my paper? Okay, I'm going to tell you first of all, what do you see? What do you see here? What do you see in the picture? Before I show you the story, what do you see in the picture? So there's 3 children and a father, and what are they doing? Walking. They are walking, yes? Now, does anybody know, if I say the first word of my story, what is this? The first row. This is the advantage of sitting on the first row. We are going. We are going on and now, okay, look at me. Big animal. Yes, and I'm going to hunt. We are going on a, and the animal starts with a. I think I heard it. Bear. So what is the name of the story? Anna. Bear hunt. We're going on a bear hunt. Okay? Do you want to see the story? Do you want to watch? Now, before I show you, okay, this is not a new story. Yes, this story is actually, I think it's about 20 years old. Yes? And for the anniversary, the author, Michael Rosen, actually reads and does the animation. Now, you are going to watch, but I want you to think that you are a learner in your classroom. Right now, you're not a teacher, okay? You're a learner, and I want you to think, what can you see, hear, touch, smell, and taste while you watch the story? So this is your imagination, okay? So what can I touch? Can I touch the grass? Can I taste maybe the water? Yes? Okay, so this is what your job is. So your job is, imagine you are a learner, and I want you to think with your senses during this story. Are you ready? Yes? Okay. 1 minute. Okay, it's telling me that I don't have internet. Okay, it's telling me that I do not have internet. So, what did I just do with you? Okay, I want you to think a minute while we're waiting for the internet to connect. Before I started telling the story, what did I do? Imagine you are a learner. Did I tell you, oh, we're going to read this story now? No. What did I do? What? Yes, but what did I do? Imagine you're a student and I'm telling you, I'm bringing you the book. What am I doing? Am I just starting to tell the story? Yes, I'm warming you up. I'm showing you pictures. I'm letting you predict. Excellent. I'm letting you predict what the story is going to be about. Yes? I'm not just saying, we're going to read the story. No, I'm using prediction. I'm trying to get you to think of the words. Yes? I'm using some images, vocabulary you already know. Now remember your senses. Yes, that's what we're going to do now. You're going to be focusing on your senses, and you are a learner in your classroom. You're not a teacher. No, and so no. One moment. We are going to be connected. This is so exciting that I have to let you see this. Okay? So you are going on a bear hunt. Yes? Do you have bears in this country? Do you have bears in Peru? Yes? What kind of bears do you have in Peru? Lots of different kinds of bears? Yes? Do you have grizzly bears? Brown bears? Black bears. Excellent. Okay. So you're going to see, do you remember how many people are in our story? You saw the picture. How many people? 4. Now, there's one more person, not person. There's one more animal in the story. The family have a pet. A pet that barks. Yes? A dog. Excellent. So there is not only a bear, there is also a dog in our story. Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. We're just getting audio because it's way too silent. Now, I do want you to focus on listening. But remember, the purpose of this listening is not to understand everything. Just the purpose is our senses. What is our experience? Yes?
Hi, my name's Michael Rosen, and I help make a book called We're Going on a Bear Hunt. And it goes something like this. We're going on a bear hunt, we're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. We're not scared. Uh-oh, grass, long wavy grass. We can't go over it, we can't go under it. Oh no, we got to go through it. Swish, swash, swish, swash, swish, swash. Choo-choo, 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 choo. We're going on a bear hunt, we're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. We're not scared. Uh-oh, a river, a deep, cold river. We can't go over it, we can't go under it. Oh no, we got to go through it. Diving, splosh, splash, splosh, splash, splosh, splash. Choo-choo, choo, choo, We're going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. We're not scared. Uh-oh. Mud. Thick, oozy mud. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. Oh no! We got to go through it. Squelch, squirch. Squelch, squirch. We're going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. We're not scared. Uh-oh, a forest. A big, dark forest. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. Oh no, we got to go through it. Stumble, trip, stumble, trip, stumble, trip. We're going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. We're not scared. Uh-oh. A snowstorm. A swirling, whirling snowstorm. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. Oh no, we got to go through it. Going on a bear hunt, we're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. We're not scared. Uh-oh, a cave. A narrow, gloomy cave. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. Oh no, we got to go through it. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. What's that? One shiny wet nose, two big furry ears, two big goggly eyes. It's a bear! Quick, back to the cave! Tick-tock, 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 back through the snowstorm! Back through the forest! Stumble, trip, stumble, trip, stumble, trip, back through the mud! Squelch, squirch! Back through the river, diving! Splosh, splash, splosh, splash, splosh, splash! Back through the grass! Swishy, swashy, swishy, swashy, swishy, swashy! Down the road, up to our front door! Open the door, up the stairs. Duk, 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 duk. Oh no, we forgot to shut the door. Back downstairs. Duk, 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 duk. Shut that door. Boom, back upstairs. Duk, 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 duk. Long passage, into the bedroom, into bed, under the covers. We're not going on a bear hunt again.
We're going on a bear hunt, celebrating 25 years. Join the bear hunt.
Okay, I'm just going to let you share one thing for each of the sentences, just due to time considerations. Normally you would take more time to do this, yes? So does anybody want to share something that you could feel in this story? Yes, something that you could, let's say something you can touch. What can we touch in this story? Grass, for example. What can we hear? Splash, splash. What can we see? There's many things to see. Snow, for example. Yes, we can see many things. What can we smell? What can we smell? What can we smell? Maybe the cave? Yes, maybe the cave. Ugh. Maybe the cave, maybe the mud. Yes, there's different things we can smell. Did I forget any of the sentences? No, I think we're fine. Yes? So this is the idea, okay? Now, if I was doing this with students, yes, with students in the classroom, yes, I would do you think is going to happen next? Now, if we have the time to do this a second time, what do you think we could do? Imagine your learners. What would be this? Could I play it a second time? And what could we do? We're going on a bear hunt. Yes, they can do all the movements. And you will see, because of the repetition, this book is very good because it has a lot of repetition. Okay? We're going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch up. Big one. We're not scared. Yes, that repeats itself over and over. Yes, we can't go over it. We can't go. We must go through it. What are we practicing? Which grammar point? Prepositions. Yes. So while the students don't realize it, they are actually learning correct usage of prepositions. Yes. They're learning the structure. We're going. Yes. So there's a lot of grammar, a lot of new vocabulary in there. Is it okay if they don't know? Do I need to sit here and introduce all the vocabulary in advance? Not really, right? Because you have the visual, you have the mind, you have the walking, you can see everything. In my classroom, the next step would be I would play it the second time, and I would get them to form a circle. If you have a few students, otherwise next to their desk, and we do the motions, yes? Because the best way for our brain to register is if we're actively learning, okay? So that's what I would do with our story next. Now, I'm not going to do this just due to time constraints, but my next question for you to think about, because I've only got about 5 minutes left, yes, something for you to think about after today's presentation. I'm going to take you through some activities first, is what would your students like about this? What may they not like? Yes? Something to consider when you're using a story. If you have learners in Lima, and they have not been to other parts of the country, do they know what snow is? No. So some things we might have to introduce and explain to them, such as snow. Snow is a new concept, okay? I'm not going to go through this right now, okay? Now, whenever we do storytelling, story sharing in our classrooms, we're going to basically have 3 phases. We're going to have a before reading phase. Do you remember before we watched the story, what did I do? I did a prediction activity. Yes? So I did a prediction activity. That's an example of before reading. What was the during reading activity that I made you do? What did you have to do during the watching? In this case, I didn't read to you. You watched the story. What did you have to do? Think about your senses. So it was a reflection activity. You had to watch and you had to think about the senses. Yes? And then there's going to be an after reading activity. Okay? Now, we might present and elicit vocabulary and key language. In this case, I did not do that. Yes? Because it was simple language, there was plenty of visual, there was no need to do that. Did I create interests for the story? Yes. And afterwards, we are, of course, we did some story review already, but we would do a follow-up activity. We're going to have a look at some now. Okay, now, some of the activities that you could do, and I actually, in the PowerPoint, when you receive the PowerPoint, you're going to have an overview of activities that you can use. Yes? So don't worry if you don't know what all of these are. This is something that I'm sure all of you know what it is. I spy with my little eye. How could I play that activity? Excellent. How could I play? I spy with my little eye. I spy with my little eye. I could have a big picture here, or one of my overhead, yes, one of my PowerPoint, and I might say, I spy with my little eye something brown. What is brown in our story? The bear. Excellent. So this is an example of an activity to review vocabulary. Now, true and false dictation. Instead of doing boring dictation, I might dictate some sentences. Okay, you have to tell me if the following sentence is true or false about the story you just saw. Yes? There is a mother and a father in this story. False. How can you correct that? There is a father in the story. Yes, excellent. So this is an example of true and false dictation. Vocabulary race would be an activity where I have a picture from my story. I say, for example, cave, and the first learner to touch the cave, yes, wins a point. Yes? This is how vocabulary race works. Okay, now, imagine I'm going to use, this is going to be the last activity that we are going to do today, and then I will show you the rest of the slides and explain what they're about, okay? Now, we are going to play hot seat. Does anybody know what hot seat is? Hot seat. Who wants to be my candidate? I'm going to use you because you're sitting in the front row. She's very brave. I want a round of applause for her. Can you give her a round of applause? Okay. Now, imagine that she is the bear in the story, okay? Now, you can ask her questions, and she's going to answer them as if she is the bear. Can anybody give me a question you want to ask to the bear? Yes? Anybody want to ask a question to our bear?
What do you prefer to eat?
What do you prefer to eat?
Honey.
Honey. Excellent. One more question. Anybody else? Come on, come on. I want one more question. Yes, thank you very much. Have you ever eaten any children? No. No, she doesn't like children. Okay, give her a round of applause. Thank you. Okay, before we close off, my question to you, that last activity, what were we practicing? Which skills? What were the learners practicing? Speaking, and we were doing questions and answers, and listening, of course. Is that a good follow-up activity? Yes? Okay. Now, in the slides, there are many, many different activities. They are all explained in there so that you can take them with you and you can do them in your classroom. Yes? So I really hope that after today's session, you will go back and take a story. Now, if you don't have any storybooks, you can use the ones online. They are free. Second thing that I always advise teachers to do is take a story, and I'm going to send you some of the stories that were made by teachers from, I have a Chinese story, I have one from Slovakia, Poland, and Spain. And these are stories that teachers actually took. They're stories, their own stories, such as you have in Peru, and they wrote them in simple English and illustrated them. So I have some of those as well, and that's a suggestion in case you do not have stories, okay? Thank you very much for your participation and your hard work during this session.
Thank you very much, Ms. Nero, for this insightful presentation.
Sí, posible. Está aprendiendo. Hello. Hello.
Good afternoon. Thank you for waiting. So, good evening, colleagues. It's now my pleasure to introduce to you to our second lecturer, Mr. Marvin Flores. Mr. Marvin Flores Arana is a teacher of Portuguese here in UCH with international certifications in English, FCE, and in Portuguese, Petrobras. He has worked in other language centers here in Lima, as in Universidad, where he had obtained his licensure in education as an evaluator of sufficient exams in Centro de Idiomas de la Universidad San Marcos. He elaborated some evaluation materials related to writing and reading. And now in Portuguese. I'm gonna practice my Portuguese, please. Don't be bullying to me. Okay, I'm gonna try in Portuguese now. Marvin Flores Arana é professor de português da Universidade de Ciencias, Humanidades com certificações internacionais em inglês e português, FCE e CEPEBRAS. Estudou educação na Universidade de Federico Villarreal. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce to Mr. Marvin Arana, please.
Boa tarde a todos. Boa tarde. Boa tarde. Hoje quero estudar vocês, ok, em português. Ok, eu quero falar português hoje, mas eu quero falar um pouquinho também de inglês. Ok? I know that this is a conference in English, but we teach here at UCH português também, ok? Português. Então vamos falar hoje português, ok? Eu quero estudar vocês. Dizer, né? Boa tarde. Boa tarde, tudo bem? Tudo bem. Ok, muito bem, bons alunos. Hoje eu tenho. Bem, meu nome é Marvin Flores. Muito prazer a todos vocês. Muito prazer. Muito prazer. Muito prazer. Quero escutar vocês. Muito prazer. Muito bem. Que bons alunos eu tenho hoje. Sou o professor Marvin, da Universidade. Bem, o que você conhece sobre o Brasil? Eu quero saber quanto você conhece sobre o Brasil. O Brasil. O que você sabe sobre o Brasil? O que você sabe sobre o Brasil? Quais são os atrativos naturais que temos no Brasil? Pão de açúcar, muito bem, um morro, muito bonito no Rio de Janeiro. Naturais. Pão de açúcar natural. Como se chama a catarata? A catarata? Niágara. Iguaçu, Foz do Iguaçu, né? Muitas belezas naturais. Graças a Deus, né? Graças a Deus. Sua música, o que você sabe sobre a música? Samba, axé, muitos ritmos, né? Muita cultura muito bonita, né? Uma cultura muito rica. Quais são suas festas? Carnaval, né? Carnaval, temos aí o carnaval, né? Muita alegria, muita festa. Mas sabemos qual será o prato típico do Brasil? Feijoada, muito bem. A feijoada. Aqui temos o nome completo, né? Feijoada, né? Feijoada, vamos colocar aqui, ó. A feijoada, muito feijão, né? Prato típico. E qual será a bebida típica do Brasil? Caipirinha, muito bem. Muito bem, a caipirinha. Ok, sejam bem-vindos ao Brasil, né? Sintam-se em casa, né? Como se estivessem no Brasil, ok? Vamos começar. Estão prontos? Sim? Prontos? Ok? Vamos embora. Ok, aqui. É aqui. Ok, muito bem. Ok? Olá, né? Olá. Ok? Aqui temos algumas palavrinhas, né? Para vocês aprenderem hoje. Ok? Com licença. Se alguém quer falar ao telefone, pode sair e me dizer com licença. Com licença e sai. Ok? Se chega tarde, desculpe-me. Ok? Desculpe-me. Ok? Se lhe surpreende algo assim, aqui, né? Nossa, repitam aí, nossa, como a música, né? Nossa, né? Nossa, algo assim que nos surpreende, né? Muito bem. Ok, muito bem. Boa tarde a todos, ok? Boa tarde a todos. Ok, olá, meu nome é Marvin. Flores Arana, ok? Eu sou professor. Tchauzinho. Ok, gente, o que vamos aprender hoje? O que? 3 coisinhas. Vamos aprender 3 coisas mais importantes hoje. Quando eu digo oi, olá, bom dia, boa noite, o que eu quero aprender? O que vocês vão aprender? Cumprimentar. Oi, bom dia, ok? Quando eu digo meu nome é Marvin, apresentar-se. Quando eu digo tchauzinho, despedir-se. Então vamos aprender as 3 coisas mais importantes que vou colocar aqui. Ok? A cumprimentar, a apresentar-se e a despedir-se em português. Esses são os nossos objetivos de hoje. Ok? Então vamos começar. Seguinte. Ok? Expressões, né? Que nos vão ajudar para comunicarmos. Ok? Eu quero que repitam comigo, tá bom? Oi. Bem-vindo. O prazer é meu. Bem. E você? Desculpe. Bom dia. Boa noite. Não, muito obrigada. Tudo. E você? Muito obrigada. Tchauzinho. De novo, mais uma vez. Muito bem. Oi. Bem-vindo. O prazer é meu. Bem. E você? Desculpe. Bom dia. Boa noite. Não, muito obrigada. Tudo. E você? Muito obrigada. Tchauzinho. Muito bem. Palmas para vocês. Muito bem. Estão fazendo muito bem. Agora vocês têm uma folha. Vocês vão relacionar ao número correspondente. Ok? Esses comprimentos de acordo com as imagens. Ok? Exemplo. Número 1. Quem me diz número 1? Voluntário. Número 1. Um exemplo para... Ok? Número 1. Número 1 é oi. Muito bem, oi. Vocês têm 2 minutinhos. Vamos, completamos. Ok? Os números estão meio desordenados. Ok? O que temos que fazer? Completar. Ok? Depois eu perguntei. A ver. Todos têm que fazer. Todos. 2 minutinhos. Para agradecer. Não é. Para. Ok. Vamos. Parabéns. Ok, pronto? Pronto? Não? Compare com seus colegas, por favor. Compare com seus colegas. Do lado, compare, sim. Só. Ok, gente? Eu vou jogar a bola, tá bom? Jogamos a bola, tá? Jogamos a bola, tá? Número 2. Quem quer? Número 2. Número 2. Ok, por favor. Ok. Número 2. Buscamos número 2. Tudo bem? Como me responde? Número 2. Número 2. Tudo bem? Tudo bem. Tudo bem. Tudo bem. Ok? Número 3. Passe, por favor. Número 3. Muito obrigada. Muito obrigada. Número 3, encontrou? Sim, encontrou o número 3. Número 4. Boa noite. Repita comigo. Boa noite. Boa noite. Número 5. Desculpe. 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 Número 6. Bem-vindo. 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 Número 7. Como vai? Bem. E você? Bem. E você? Muito bem. 8. 8. Tchauzinho. Tchauzinho. 9. Muito prazer. O prazer é meu. 10. Está servida. Não, 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 não. Muito obrigada. Muito obrigada. Muito obrigada. Muito bem, gente. Agora vamos apresentar. Página seguinte. Página seguinte. Vamos escutar um áudio. Agora é com vocês. Na ponta da língua. Na ponta da língua. Na ponta da língua. Está na ponta da língua. Vamos escutar.
Ouça diálogos a seguir e conheça algumas formas de cumprimentar, apresentar-se e se despedir. Oi, meu nome é Mauro. Como você se chama?
Olá, Mauro. Eu me chamo Clara. Prazer.
O prazer é meu.
Muito.
Ok, praticamos, tá bom? Vamos repetir comigo. Em pares, em duplas. Ok? Ouça os diálogos a seguir e conheça algumas formas de cumprimentar, apresentar-se e se despedir. Ok? Vamos nos conhecer com seus colegas. Ok? E praticar em frente. Eu quero voluntários. Ok? Repita comigo. Oi. Oi. Meu nome é Mauro. Como você se chama? Olá, Mauro. Eu me chamo Clara. Prazer. O prazer é meu. Outra vez, por favor. Oi. Meu nome é Mauro.